Welcome to the weekly press conference with head football coach at VUU, Dr. Alvin Parker. Coach, I'd like for you to make a statement on the game, open up this, and then we will open it up to questions.
Uh, Tough loss this past weekend to a good Chowan football team. I thought they came in here and Coach Hall had them prepared, and they came here and they played hard. We played hard as well. Made a couple mistakes and did some things, but those guys played well. And it was just a good Northern Division battle that Chowan came out on top of us. So hats off to those guys. They, like I said, they played well. We just look to rebound this week and get things back on track and get back to the winning ways that we had all season.
Coach, we had Jada Byers break the single season rushing record. Can you give us a comment on that?
Um, Good to see. He's not the the whole personal award type of guy. So he really didn't mention a lot about it, but he broke that record in 9 games. So I was happy to see that. But like I said before, I've got to witness both of those guys. Andre Braxton as well as Jada Byers. So both of those guys break that record. So I was happy to see it, and it's a good thing for Jada to get his name in the record books like that because he's definitely earned it.
All right, we'll open the field up to questions. Anyone would like to ask a question of Coach Parker?
Jim, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Uh, John Emmett, WVST, Petersburg. Coach, obviously you look at that stat sheet from Chowan, and it's about the sacks and turnovers. How much of that would you credit to some of the exotic things they do defensively, and how much of that's just kind of a tough day?
It was a tough day. I thought we still did a few things well, but they got pressure on our quarterback, and forced us into some of those turnovers. So, like I said, those guys, had a good game plan and they did some good things, you know. But again, the Northern Division is just like a tough thing every single week. So we wasn't expecting anything less. We had a couple plays down the stretch that didn't quite help us. A couple special teams plays here and there. But I thought my guys did a good job of just kind of fighting and staying in there. We started the game. We kind of traded touchdowns and we traded some turnovers here and there. They got the ball to bounce their way a little bit more, but those guys did enough to win. So hats off to them.
The Panthers are also ranked fifth in the region this week. Coach, can you tell me what that means for the program?
It's good. Coming off of the loss, you need some type of bright spot. So that was definitely one. To see our name when the regional rankings came out. I think we put together a good body of work. We played a tough schedule that I felt like, and we had some quality wins. So I'm glad the loss didn't hurt us as much as I thought it would. So coming out fifth in the region, we know what we got to do. To keep playing and to make sure we play some good ball down the stretch to give us an extra 1, 2, 3, or 4 games.
Coach, how are you able to bring him back? I mean, you go 8-0, and it's a really special year. You hit a little bit of a speed bump Saturday. How do you bring him back this week?
Uh, it's gonna sound kind of repetitive, but we stick to the schedule. We got right back in here on Sunday, and we started right back working like we normally do. I think nobody in the program saw anything different. Of course, you gotta look out for some things and don't let one loss necessarily beat you twice. You got to make sure you're doing certain things for that. But I think we got a good enough team that they can come back off of this and they can rebound well. Again, we had practice today, and it was real spirited. Coming out, like I said, coming out of a loss, it was unfamiliar territory. Nobody on this team this year had been there this year, starting this thing out 8-0. So it was good to kind of see the guys there lively, kind of ready to go, taking the coaching and knowing what we got to do this coming weekend.
Yeah, we saw Jada Byers the last drive of last season when you guys are trailing with VSU and you just marched 90 right down the field, all on the ground. And I thought maybe that was a little bit of his coming out party. But what is it that's made him so special this year?
I can't necessarily put it on one thing, you know, um, especially because he just, he can do it all. I think he's shown that this year. He not only lead the nation in rushing, but he leads the nation in all-purpose yards too. You know what I'm saying? So he can do a lot with it. He can return it. He can catch it. He can block up and pass game. He can do a lot. So his whole game makes him special. and we rely on them quite a bit. We got a bunch of good guys on the offensive side of the ball, and Jada kind of headlines those guys. So he comes out there and he kind of do whatever's asked of him, and he make it go.
A quick scouting report on what you've seen thus far from this week's opponent, BSU.
I think Coach Frazier has always had a tough ball club, no matter where he's been. He's always been known to have a tough ball club, and we don't expect anything different. And those guys have been playing some good ball too. So like we talk about it at the beginning of the year, all the way to this point till we get to where it's the last regular season game. We talk about the type of opponents and things you're going to see in the CIAA Northern Division. So again, we weren't expecting anything less. It's always been a good game you know, since I've been a player here. We kind of threw things out of the window, and no matter what the records were, we knew this was going to kind of be knocked down, drag out, no matter what. It's always been like that between Union and State. So, and it's like that in everything: basketball, football. You see the girls' volleyball team going at it a whole lot. It's always like that with the Union and State game. So we expect nothing different come Saturday.
Chris, have you got any questions for Coach?
Yeah, I got a couple of questions. So, Coach, I know you talked about this past weekend and turnovers. Virginia State is a club that ranks near the top of the country in turnovers gained. So, what do you say to your guys about taking care of the ball going into a big game like this?
Oh, you got to emphasize it. You get what you emphasize. So it hadn't necessarily been a thing for us, all season. That we turned the ball over as much as we did on this past weekend. So I think you just go back to the ways that you've been doing things and the ways we've been coaching these guys, because turnovers and penalties and all those type of things can get you beat. So we just want to make sure we emphasize that. We can't turn the ball over, we can't put it on the ground, and we got to force a few more turnovers and do things like that. But we know Virginia State, like you said, is high up in the nation in getting turnovers. So we got to make sure we don't get those guys any gifts, because they're too good of a football team to hand them things. So we got to make sure we keep possession of the ball. And we just rely heavily on playing smart football.
And then the other thing is Virginia State, a lot of their offense goes through two of their running backs, and Darius Hagans and Upton Bailey. Both are coming off of two straight games where they each have rushed for 100 yards. Talk a little bit about the challenge that the defense has in slowing those guys down.
Yeah, I think they have another back too that runs the ball extremely well. So I think they're almost like a three-headed monster, that they have back there. So and again, they rely heavily on the run just like we do, but I think our defense will be up for the challenge. Those guys do pretty well against the run, and those guys have been in position, in tops in the nation all year. Stopping the run. I think we're tops in the conference as well. So it's gonna be one of those type of battles. Those guys rely heavily on it. We rely heavily on stopping the run, and I think it's kind of our formula versus their formula. So we'll see how it plays out on Saturday. But I feel good about our guys. Loading down and doing what they normally do, and being prepared. For those guys they have back there, because they have a good three guys I know that can run the ball, and a heck of an offensive line that moves people. So we look forward to the challenge on Saturday.
All right, thank you, Coach, and good luck.
Appreciate it.
John, you got any more questions?
Just if you had to break it down real quick, what would you say the keys are for you Saturday to get another win?
I think we just come out there and play our brand of football. Probably is the number one thing. And some things that probably was mentioned earlier about Chris is just protecting the football. And I think you mentioned a little earlier, John, protecting our quarterback. I think that's going to kind of be the key. And not let the moment kind of get to you, because the Virginia State and the Virginia Union game is always a big moment. It's going to be a ton of fans out there. It's going to be a ton of people out there. And sometimes you can't succumb to the moment, so we got to make sure we protect our guys from that, and make sure we kind of keep them focused up the rest of the week and have another good practice, another good few practices like we had today. And those type of things. I think the preparation is going to be key for both teams this week and making sure that we come into this game ready to go.
Thank you very much, Coach. Appreciate it. Best of luck.
Appreciate it.
Are there any other questions? All right. Well, we thank everybody for coming by, Chris and John. Hopefully we'll see you next week.
Good deal.
Thanks, guys.